So let's discuss what just happened on Raw last night with Drew McIntyre winning back the WWE title from Randy Orton. This match was hard to predict earlier in the week, but if you watch this week's SmackDown, then the outcome of the WWE Championship match on Raw was basically spoiled by WWE themselves. In typical WWE fashion, it looks like they made a decision on the spot for Orton to win the title. Had no idea where they were going with it, so they just decided to reverse everything back to Drew McIntyre being the WWE champion. That's classic WWE right there. They really should have just put more thought into something before they go ahead and make a big decision, like Drew McIntyre losing the title to Randy Orton in the first place. There was no reason for Drew McIntyre to lose the title, and there was no real reason for Randy Orton to win the title in the first place. Then you had The Fiend automatically putting himself into the title picture as well. The whole thing was just a big mess and very hard to follow. You just didn't know what was going on here. Was Randy Orton still feuding with Drew McIntyre? Is Bray Wyatt now declaring himself as the #1 contender after just showing up on Raw? It was all over the place. Drew should have never lost it to begin with. I think they gave up on him so easily there, but it's not his fault that he has no one to face on Raw. It's been great to see Drew McIntyre as WWE champion over the last few months, but who has he really feuded with? Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton for 6 months? That's been about it. He wasn't a weak champion, but it was a weak roster in terms of possible credible challengers for Drew McIntyre. That's why Randy Orton was basically the only choice to be a credible challenger for Drew McIntyre. But Randy Orton winning the title had to be one of the biggest head-scratching decisions in a while. Like we mentioned before, what really gave away Drew McIntyre winning the WWE title again was his recent SmackDown appearance. Drew McIntyre came out to interrupt Roman Reigns, and the two of them quickly built a storyline within that one episode of SmackDown. Drew pointed out how Roman just walked away on the fans back in March and how he had to take over as the main guy for WWE. Roman Reigns responded by saying that no one watches Raw and he really wasn't paying much attention to Drew. Drew McIntyre vs. Jay got set for later that night, and Drew picked up the win over Jay and had a long stare down with Roman Reigns after the match. It looked like Drew McIntyre finally got some of Roman's attention and respect. But Roman still said that he'll have to wait until Raw to see if he'll be facing Drew McIntyre on Sunday. Now we know that Drew McIntyre vs. Roman Reigns will be happening at Survivor Series. So yeah, I like that last second build-up for the Roman vs. Drew match, but what I don't like is that it basically took away from the hype of the title match on Raw because WWE confirmed that Drew was winning the title 3 days in advance. So I don't love that part about them basically spoiling the outcome of the title match. But I do like the actual storyline that Roman and Drew have built here over the last few days. Roman and Drew are continuing to go back and forth on Twitter and really hyping up this match. So it definitely has a big fight feel to it. But for Randy Orton, this is no doubt one of his most disappointing title reigns ever. It was barely a few weeks long. He accomplished nothing and lost the title to the person that he won it from in the first place. So yeah, this is going to go down as probably one of Randy Orton's most forgettable title reigns. What was the point of Randy Orton's title reign? We don't know, and I'm pretty sure WWE doesn't know either. It was just one of those decisions that was made on the spot and they instantly regretted it. So that's what got us to this point and where we're at today. Drew McIntyre will go on to face Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton could possibly enter a new feud with Bray Wyatt, something that WWE has been heavily teasing over the last few weeks. Then after Drew McIntyre is done with Roman Reigns, WWE will once again have to find a credible challenger for him to face on Raw. Sheamus is a top heel, but he's also close friends with Drew McIntyre, so either Drew turning heel or Sheamus being his next challenger both seems like good options here. So that's why Drew McIntyre won the title. It seems that WWE regretted their decision to put the title on Orton and placed it back on Drew right in time to have Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. What are your thoughts on Drew McIntyre winning back the WWE title? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.